Jeremiah truly found out how devastating it was to be a prophet at this time. Anyway, one that spoke the truth and righteousness. As we read in chapters 20 through 24, it does not get any easier for the weeping prophet. Daily devotions are posted on my blog at biblicalshakers.blogspot.com, and they will add extra dynamics for each daily chapter read. In chapter 20, Jeremiah went from joy to despair and from bold proclamation to burdened prayer. The official who maintained order in the temple had Jeremiah beaten and locked up instead of taking the message to heart. Jeremiah was persecuted for proclaiming God's word, and because of the pain, he withheld preaching for a while, but had to go back to it, for it was foremost in his heart and in his soul. How compelled are we to share God's promise with others, even without persecution? The next several chapters contain Jeremiah's messages concerning Nebuchadnezzar's attacks on Jerusalem. The prophet delivered 3 messages, and the first was to the king, Zedekiah, the last king of Judah, who rebelled against Babylon and ended up being captured. The second message was to the people, giving them a choice between life or death. The recipients of the third message were members of the house of David, Judah's kings. In chapter 22, the prophet addressed 4 kings of Judah, beginning with Zedekiah, the last king, and then taking the preceding kings in the order of their reign. None of them followed the ruling as David ruled. They were bad examples, did not listen to the voice of God, and followed idols instead of God, our Father. When do we not learn from the past or hear God and obey Him in the present? We destroy our future when we do that. God expects the leaders of His people to be shepherds who love, guide, and care for them. But the shepherds in Judah at that time were selfish and disloyal to God's covenant. In chapter 23, you will read how the kings scattered the people and did not protect them or provide for them. The prophets and the priests did not give the people spiritual direction. Be sure that the people who give you spiritual counsel are called by God, walk with God, and obey God's word. Israel was to be like first fruits to the Lord, but the nation was not wholly devoted to God. Like the 2 baskets of figs in the 24th chapter, most of the people were bad, not obeying God. The good figs, or godly remnants, experienced good things from God during the exile, but the bad figs, or ungodly citizens, were consumed by trouble. The important thing is a heart that knows the Lord and is wholly devoted to Him. Believers today are to be a kind of first fruits of His creatures and want to give Him the best. We close this week knowing that Jeremiah was not a popular preacher, but his message was faithful. Those who heeded him lived. Those who resisted the word died. Next week, another 5 chapters in the book of Jeremiah. Won't you please join us? Because reading the Bible is way easier when you do it with Biblical Shakers. And I pray the Lord will put a hunger on your heart.